Welcome to the Wellness Amazon podcast. This is a podcast for highly sensitive people, people that have high intuition and are just in tune with themselves and the outer world. Come and listen to multiple different high spectrum subjects and just peek behind the curtain. But I warn you, once you peek behind the curtain, you can never go back. Have fun. Enjoy. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Wellness Amazon podcast. Another solo one today, because we're going to talk about something that a lot of people don't really want to talk about, but in this podcast, there's no taboos. There is nothing that is too hot or juicy not to talk about. So today, in one of the last episodes about HSP, it's going to be about pleasure in the bedroom or wherever you are. Don't think that has to be in just one room. But anyway, this is something that has been coming up a lot, and I have heard something the other day that, do not quote me on this. I didn't check. I didn't research on this. I just trust that the person who tells me that's what they have, then that's what they have. And I guess there's a thing called sexual ADHD. Did not know that this exists, but it makes total sense. So, because we have already talked about ADHD, HSP, we've talked about PTSD, we've talked about all these things, I thought, why not bring this into something that might be a struggle for you and you cannot find anything anywhere on the interwebs about this. So, here we go. Obviously, when we talk about HSP, highly sensitive person, we have talked extensively about this. If this is your first time tuning in, go to episode 1 where we talk about what's HSP. You're highly sensitive, not just with being a sensitive person and your character, but you probably have sensitive sights. Any senses that you have are slightly heightened and just very tuned up. So your sight, your smell, your hearing, your how you feel, your skin, what your skin feels, smells, tastes, anything like this, right? Most HSPs have very sensitive hearing. That I think that's something that I hear the most. I'm somebody who is extremely, not only with hearing sensitive, but I have very sensitive smell. Despite of COVID or whatnot, I smell something 100 miles against the wind, and I smell things that other people don't even know how they smell like. Like, I know how glass smells, or how there is a different smell in nature depending on the season immediately when I open the door, or just things around the house, right? People. I can sense people just with their smell without seeing them. Stuff like that. Obviously, hearing, very sensitive to noise, very sensitive to what kind of noise. Taste as well, which probably goes hand in hand with the taste and the smell. They go hand in hand, right? So if you have a very sensitive nose, chances are that you also have a very acquired taste, and your taste buds are just very sensitive. That doesn't mean you don't like spicy food. It's just maybe more of an appreciation to certain tastes. And the same would go with sights. So if your eyesight is, and that has nothing to do with eyesight in a sense of, are you wearing glasses? I wear glasses too. But it's more about how stimulating is that sight and how aesthetically pleasing is that sight and things like that, right? And then, of course, touch. Think about clothing. Are you picky about clothing? Are you picky about having a tag in the clothing and it rubs you? How clothing feels, how clothing smells, whatever, or how a blanket feels like. I am a very sensitive blanket person. There is different blankets and materials that I cannot have touch my skin. It drives me absolutely up the wall, which is why it is so hard for me to travel sometimes. Traveling with a whole blanket in your suitcase is very hard, but things like that. So anyway, and then we're going to talk about the whole other aspect of overstimulation, and now having that huge overstimulated brain which is almost like another sense that we have, because it's a feeling of energies that is not really something we can, explain very easily. So what you're going to hear me say a lot in this episode, and you're probably tired of it, is the word communication, because that is just the number one thing. By the way, if you're single, this episode is for you. If you're in a relationship, this episode is for you, because this is not just tied to with partner. If we talk about anything with HSP, it could be your partner is an HSP, you're not. Your partner is an HSP, you are an HSP. You are the HSP, your partner is not. You're single and you're HSP. Okay? If you're single and you're not an HSP, maybe you listen to this and you still have takeaways from it, because maybe some of the stuff I just said resonates with you. Doesn't mean you're the full whole 9 yards HSP. All right, so communication is important, because not just with your partner, but also with yourself, because when we talk about pleasure and we talk about sexuality, we have to talk about really being honest with ourselves, honest with other people. Is everybody has a different stance on things. Everybody has different things that they like, that they don't like. There's our relationship to pleasure is really shaped with not only our own beliefs, but also sometimes programming, what we grow up with, and what we experience during our lifetime. So don't be discouraged if you're coming to something that is where you feel like it's a block. It might not be you. It might be something that has been ingrained into you, and that's great, because that can also be ingrained out. I don't know if that's a term, but we're using it today. We're ingraining it out, right? We can heal from that. We can challenge that belief. So here we go. Let's just start from the top. Let's just start with sights. So if you have, and obviously ever issues with anything, let's just call it in the bedroom, even though we know we're not talking about one certain room, where you have the feeling of you're overstimulated, you can't really concentrate on what's going on, or you think your libido is low or something like this. Well, maybe let's just check those things, and maybe it's an easy fix, okay? Your surroundings, when it comes to these things, is very important. So let's start with sight. This is something that is also really important for anything else in your life, not just about sexuality. So this is really important, and some of you might not want to hear this. Clean your space. You've probably heard it before. Your own space in your home is an enlargement and part of your mind, right? It's an extension. That's the word I'm looking for. It's an extension of your own mind. So if you live in chaos, that also translates into your mind. It makes it chaotic, and it has a chaotic energy, and it's going to be very hard to clearly function in that. There is people that say, no, I have a method to my chaos. And that's great. But if you ever feel like it's getting overwhelming, this is like above your threshold now. So if we're talking about a room, let's just say the bedroom. That is a sacred space. We don't leave clothing on the floor. We don't have unfinished projects in there. We don't put clutter in there. That's not the hotspot room. If you really need a hotspot room, it should be anywhere else in the home, but not in your bedroom. And this is not just about pleasure. This is also about sleep patterns, all of that stuff. Your bedroom shouldn't be also an office. I know sometimes that's hard, but that can be disruptive in the energy field, okay? Make sure that really you treat your bedroom like a sacred space. It's like a temple now. It is clean, it's clutter-free, it is calming. Maybe you want to paint it. Maybe you hate the paint color. Find, my bedroom is a very different paint color that where most people are like, oh, that's a bold choice, but it works, right? And I knew it would work Be creative. Bring yourself into that space. Bring yourself into that room, your energy field. So clean it and cleanse it, air quotes, with a more traditional sense of cleaning. Pick stuff up the floor, get clean surfaces, make the bed. Is the bedding nice? Is this what I want to see when I walk in here? Maybe change the lighting around a little bit. Okay, great. Now, maybe you want to energetically cleanse that. All right, so you can sage it, you can bring stuff out of that room that you know have nothing to do with anything that should be happening in the bedroom, like a laptop or clutter from work or whatever it is, right? Bring it out. Make it to when you walk in, you open the door, you walk into your space. It is an automatic, it is inviting, it is nice, you're excited walking into that room. You're not like, this is awful, I hate this room, I just want to shut the door right away. I open the door and I want to shut it right away. That's not the space we're going to create. And things happen. Doesn't mean that it has to be like this all the time. I get it. But just make sure you're trying to kind of maintain it a little bit. So that's really important. So make sure that everything you see is to you visually pleasing. It is not overstimulating. It is calming. They make beautiful lights nowadays. They make lights that project things on the ceiling. They make lights that look like the northern lights are in your room. Or fire or ocean or whatever it is, right? Work with these things, invest in those things. Sometimes they're really affordable. It really creates a space that you like to be in. You love to relax in. Your mind becomes quieter automatically when you walk in. So everything is aesthetically pleasing to the eye and not triggering, not overstimulating, not whatever those things are. Because chances are, if we cut out already that part of our five senses, and then the other one with the energy sense, which is like the sixth one, right? But if we already have this all perfectly squared away, that's already good. So we are already making progress, right? Wonderful. Number 2, smell. Okay. I am so sorry that I have to say that, y'all, but air fresheners are really bad for you. They're really bad for you. But you know what? If this is the only thing you have and you really love them, okay, just whatever. I'm going to entertain the thought. Candles, again, yes, if they're all natural, but again, that's up to you. But instead of going right away to adding smell, let's just go to take away smell, okay? So when we talk about you just cleaned your room, you're also going to make sure the floor is clean, that there is no weird smells anywhere, especially if people's bedrooms are connected to their bathrooms, which I know in America that's a normal thing to have. Master bedroom has a master bathroom. And you use a lot of cleaning products in your bathroom, that translates into your bedroom. And depending on where you live, I live in a very hot and humid climate, very tropical. I live in Florida. I cannot just go and open the windows all day. I can't do that. So I need to make sure that I'm not creating something that should be aired out, because I probably won't have the chance to air that out, right? But things like, really, I know this is going to sound very not sexy. Clean your air filters of your AC. It's really easy. I know people that put just a drop of essential oils on their filter before they put it in the AC unit. Fantastic. If it is real therapeutic grade, clean, organic, whatever essential oils. The other thing is you might want to invest in an air filter, because if you have allergies and this is now affecting you physically, it's going to affect you mentally. So maybe invest in some type of air filter system. I have one. I have no affiliation with them. There are some good ones out there. So do it. It's worth it. We talked about saging, which actually scientifically proven. Sage does clean the air, and almost on a on a deeper level. So it's almost disinfects the air a little bit. So that can be very, very pleasing after the smell of, burn sage is gone. And you, again, I'm not really for air fresheners, but there is some all natural sprays you can put on your bedding. There is diffusers with essential oils. Or if that all is already overwhelming to you, then nothing. If you're in a relationship and your partner is gone and you want to smell them, maybe they have a cologne that you could spray or something like this. Make sure it feels good and make sure you really dip also into your mood. If you're doing it for someone, make sure you maybe ask them, because they could be loving lemon smell, but today they're not in the mood for that. They're in the mood for, I don't know, rose or lavender or some very special candle maybe that they have, or something a little bit more sultry. It really depends on the mood and probably depends on the day. And with HSPs, it might depend on the threshold. They might be really into smells, and if they had a really rough day and they are already overstimulated, they might like nothing. No extra smell, just clean air. That's it. So this can fluctuate. Dip into this, be honest about it, go with that. Okay. Now the next one is taste. I know we're not talking about food. We're not talking about any of that stuff, but a lot of people like to drink a glass of wine, or they like to go out to dinner on date night before they do other things, which, hey, what are you doing? Yeah, you're dipping into your taste buds. And a lot of food can be aphrodisiac food, right? Like oysters or chocolate or ginger or whatever, whatever floats your boat maybe too. So yeah, tastes are important. Also, if you're someone who likes to lather themselves up, or your partner does that, in very heavily perfumed lotions, body butters, shower gel, whatever, and the other person is kissing you, that can be problematic. I have had this happen because my husband puts a lot of stuff in his beard. Well, I don't like to taste that stuff when I kiss him. So we have we have an agreement that at a certain radius around his mouth, he puts either nothing or a little bit less on it, because it's if it's perfume and if it's an all natural stuff, it's not that bad. But if it is something with an fragrance that is not an all natural fragrance, artificial, that's the word I'm looking for, artificial fragrance, it could be very off-putting if that ends up in your mouth, right? The same with smells, by the way. If you use a heavy air freshener, a heavy spray, or a very heavily perfumed candle, that can go linger in your mouth especially when you have to breathe through your mouth for a little while. That can create a taste in your mouth where, now it tastes like somebody sprayed perfume in your mouth. And that's not very pleasant. So look for these two things are connected, the smell and the taste. So make sure you're not going completely overboard maybe with them. And then again, what's your threshold that day? Do you want any taste in your mouth? Does that feel good? Does that not feel good? Do you need to, do you like it when you brush your teeth? Do you not? Do you like to have nothing anywhere, and just when you kiss your partner, that is the only thing you're tasting is your partner and nothing else, nothing that masks it, nothing that mingles with it? Those are important questions to ask yourself and write them down. Make a list, follow along, make a list about those things, because chances are who thinks about this stuff, right? Do we think about this stuff on a regular basis? No. Is it healthy to do so? Absolutely, yes. So next one, for me, very important, is sound. You cannot influence the neighbor dog and the 5 other people who are mowing their lawn and all the other stuff, right? Now, the question is, does this bother you, or is this just background noise? Some people like noise machines, sound waves, white noise, pink noise, brown, green, yellow. There's all these noises now out there. Just having the fan on and hearing the fan or a AC unit can be very soothing. For other people, like me, that's not soothing at all. It's just another piece of noise that I don't want. Do you want music? If you want music, what is it? If your partner, is that also going to be okay with your partner? You might not have the same taste of music. Is it music that's not really any specific genre, but more like a background vibe, right? There's these vibe musics, like kind of like meditation music a little bit, something soothing. Or do you like classical music? Or do you want no music at all? Because again, it's just another thing you're going to sense. And then that sense is now focused on the music, and it brings you again out of your body and into your head. By the way, big announcement, that's what we're trying to avoid. We are trying to avoid to being in our head instead of in our bodies. We want to be, and obviously now I'm talking about throughout the act, right? We want to be as present as possible. And that can be hard if we're overstimulated and we hear other things. But for other people, some of those things we have talked about are good to be present in the moment. So this is where you, if you don't know, have to play with it, experience with it. Is background music a good thing? Or is this like, no? Or is it, okay, I can have music, but it cannot have any lyrics? Because if somebody is singing, I am trying to listen to what they're singing about. So there's different nuances there. Again, find out for yourself how that feels and what kind of effect it has on you in the moment, right? Other sounds can be, and this is, I want to touch on that because again, I just mentioned that somebody told me I have sexual ADHD. Going through motions and commentating them and really talking through a lot of times can be very beneficial for people that tend to be in their head, but also not in the room anymore. They're thinking about the laundry and the dinner and the project they have at work or a past conversation they just had or their favorite TV show. I mean, you name it, your mind could go anywhere. But for some people, it is very good to talk through certain things and therefore be more in the moment and present, because now it's not just the touch, it's also the sound, and they have to process the words. So it keeps them at task, I almost want to say, right? It keeps them in the moment, it keeps them present. That's part of the sound, but it's also part of processing. And again, that is up to you. Play with it. See how that feels. Also, when we talk about sound, we talk about making sound or hearing sound if our partner makes sound. How is that for you? Is that good? Is that something that you really like or like to do? Or is that something you think you would like to do, but you're shy about it? Which one is it? So you can play with that and think about it that way too, energetically. When you use, and this is, okay, we're getting a little woo-woo, but if you use your voice and especially your breath with your voice, this is now an expression and an extension of your expression of you, who you are and what you're experiencing in the moment. It also can be very beneficial to your partner because it's a cue. For your partner, it is a cue when you make sounds and you make noises that, oh, whatever I'm doing is good. This is landing really well. So it's another communication part of that without maybe using words. Can be very beneficial, but again, you need to make sure that you are enjoying that. And in the case that, like what I just said, you're shy about it, right? Baby steps. Always baby steps. Go slow and see how that feels like. Talk to your partner about it. Like, hey, I'm really shy about this. What do you think about that? Chances are they're like, no, it's great, or whatever they're going to say. communication about that can help you, again, get out of that overthinking process about it and then see where you land with it. Okay, so that was all about sound. Now we go into, obviously, touch. Touch is so important, and touch is something that for a lot of HSPs or people that are in their heads a lot can go, it's like the last one that can get registered, because for some people it's easy to tune out, or it's also the one that is the last one on the threshold that we have, where it gets very unpleasant very quickly if all the other stuff is adding to our overstimulation, or maybe somebody came into the situation and was already a little bit depleted. So that is your cue that when touch doesn't feel it, like nothing feels good, that something is completely off, and you have to start that process over again, because now you cannot pursue unless you go back and you get that overstimulation threshold, that depletion, all of that stuff. You get that down. You get that down to the point where now touch becomes enjoyable again. Don't proceed and push, because it's probably not going to work. If just the slightest touch doesn't feel good, chances are that more of that are not going to feel any better. Okay. Again, you have to communicate, to be honest with yourself. You have to be honest with your partner, whatever is going on with whoever you share the space, even if it's just with you. Stop and maybe breathe. Just breathe and communicate. Again, partner or yourself, nothing feels good right now. I'm probably not in the right starting space for this. Yeah, you know what? I'm recognizing right now I've had a rough day, or I've had a rough week, or I know I'm going to have a rough day tomorrow and my mind is already there. So now you and your partner can look for things on how to mitigate this. How can we get you out of that space from yesterday, 2 hours ago, or tomorrow, and get you in the here and now with a very neutral starting position on not being overstimulated, overwhelmed, whatever it is, getting you out of this and getting you in a neutral space where you can now receive anything that is good. It is good. Everything you receive is good. Smells, taste, touch, everything now is going to be pleasure and not another thing on top of everything else that is just not bearable anymore. Also, touch is one of the most important things to communicate about, because it can be so different for everybody, because all our bodies are different and people like different things, and people assume because of what I like, this is what I'm going to give to you, but that might not be the thing that your partner likes. So that is very tricky. And also about touch is very important to see, where do we start? Where do we start? You know, it's not just that we go to like first base, second base, third base, and so on. No. There is an entire body of this person. There is an entire body. There is toes and feet and knees, and there's back of the knees and the back of the arms, and there's thighs, and there's a back, and there's a belly, and there's a neck, and there's the back of the head, and there's things that a lot of people forget that they're there, and it needs attention. It deserves attention. And really exploring what that can be so fun, so fun. And also then talking about it like, when you touch me there, I really don't feel much. This is so weird. Or, oh, this is very, very sensitive, or that tickles, or whatever. We don't spend enough time with each other anymore nowadays, because everybody is stressed and everybody is rushed. We don't spend time with ourselves probably at all, right? So yeah, I'm inviting you, even if you're a partner, know thyself, know your own body, and know your partner's body. And you can only do that with communication. You can only do that with exploring. That doesn't even have to be leading to other things. That can just be an exploring session where you just take note on, oh, the knee is something that they really enjoy. How fun, it's good to know. Or some people really enjoy to get their hands touched, because touching someone's hand or holding a hand is a very intimate gesture, and we forget about those things. So touch, talk about it, explore. Also, when we talk about touch, and I kind of mentioned that already a little bit, is let's just say we are in the bedroom now, right? You made this beautiful space. It's visually appealing. It smells great, or not at all, or whatever. It's a great sacred space. Look at your bedding. Now touch your bedding. Do you enjoy that? Do you enjoy the bedding feels? Are you very sensitive to this? Is it fluffy? Is it rough? Is it silky? Is it sleek? Is it cool? Is it hot? Is it too cold? Is it too hot? Do you have to play with the temperature? What makes you most comfortable in your own space and in your own body, where you can just relax and you are not thinking about how, this blanket is so rough on me. No, we don't want those thoughts. We don't want to think about how hot it is in the room or how cold I am. Or no. We need to create a space that is just right. Goldilocks, right? This is too big. This is too small. This is just right. This is what we want. We want to have our Goldilocks moment. It's just right. So we don't go to the thought of the blanket or the pillow and not be in the moment anymore. So really honor your sense of touch, not just touching the other person, but touching material. Are you comfortable? Is your bed just right for you? Is this all pleasant? Have you ever thought about your bedding and if that's pleasant? Maybe you have different bedding for different seasons. Plan accordingly. If you don't like it, talk about this, or if you're single, try to think about what you would like it to be, and then do some research and maybe buy some new bedding, and maybe do that in a store instead of online, so you can actually touch things and you can be like, no, I thought I would like that. I do not. Or, oh wow, this is surprisingly nice. I like that. And then go from there. I am very picky with my blankies and which blanket touches which part and how they have to be layered. And yep, this is me. And I have been like this since I can think. Literally, I have my earliest memories about my favorite blanket when I was probably between 3 or 4. And that never changed. That never changed. So it's just a thing. Let's talk about this whole, because we went through the senses, and now the last sense that we have is our sixth sense, our intuition, our energy field, right? And this depends on the brain. With women, it can depend on the cycle too, in which hormonal cycle we are, on how we perceive things. By the way, this can also influence all the other stuff I just mentioned, right? So we have to check in with women a lot more. So all the guys are, if you're listening, even if you are the HSP and your woman is not, yeah, she's probably more sensitive on different parts of her cycle. But anyway, so let's just call it the chaos box. You have a chaos box, okay? And the chaos box, if that's completely full because of, again, overstimulation, overwhelm, stress, anxiety, maybe you have other things going on and you're not just an HSP, all of these things go into that box. And if that box is about to burst, that is a very unfortunate state to be in, to then even think about having pleasure. Probably not going to happen if that box is huge. So the first thing we have to do before anything else is drain the chaos box. And I'm not saying we have to drain that box 100%. That's going to be very hard to do. The chaos box is probably never going to be 100% drained unless you really actively work on that really hard with all the things, breathing, meditation. Those are also the things you can do together. Don't be shy. I just saw this in another podcast where somebody talked about that couples, even the really, really intimate, on a deep level, connected couples, do a lot of things together. They share everything. But there's things they won't do together. They're shy about it. Praying, meditating, breathing exercises. Those things, for some reason, everything that's has a little bit something to do with maybe energy fields and spirituality, out of a sudden become too intimate. So yeah, we're getting intimate with this person physically, but we don't want to meditate together. Isn't that weird? So, challenge accepted, I hope, right? Let's try it. Let's do eye gazing. Number 1, eye gazing, breathing together, meditating together, praying together. If this is your jam, whatever it is, get into a space where you can come together on a different and a higher level, not a physical level, and see how that feels and see what that does to your chaos box. If you're single, well, easy peasy, right? You can do this by yourself. You can find your favorite meditation practice. You can maybe just start with, breathing a little bit, thinking about journaling. You can journal together, or just talk. Even as a single, you can talk. You can video record yourself if you want to. Just talk about, why is that chaos box so big? That can do wonderful things. Just talk it out. Say, this happened, and then this was really loud, and then the lawnmower guy came on, and it just whatever got you to the state that you're in now, where you're not in the best state. Talk about it. Sometimes talking about it or journaling about it, like writing it out, can help to literally almost get it out of our bodies and out of our head. And now it's either on paper or the words are out of your mouth and they have been spoken and that energy has left your body. Talk about, where are you with your chaos box? Where are you? Where do you need to be in order to be able to receive any type of pleasure? Talk about it. Write it down. Start there. Then do something that mitigates it. Quiet time, noise canceling headphones, breathing, meditating, everything I just said, right? Do you need to do art? Do you need to create something? Do you need to paint? Do you need to cook a meal? Whatever it is, do you need to go on a walk? Do you need to go into nature? Do you need to go exercise and just pump it out on the gym? There is a million things that people do that will get them better and that will drain their chaos box. And you really have to find your own. I cannot tell you the magic wand thing to do, what to do, because every individual has a different technique on how to deal with that. I know sometimes if it's really bad, I literally go down on the floor on a yoga mat with noise canceling headphones and just try to breathe. And I am visualizing how the yoga mat is draining the chaos out of my body. And that can help. And then I journal about it, or I meditate, or whatever. But these things also don't work every day. I have to change my methods to the situation. So you really have to work on that yourself. Your partner can only help so much. You have to know what caused it and what can I do to mitigate this now for myself. Your partner can join you in that, but they probably can't do it for you. Now, if there is a thing like, could you just massage my neck for a little while? So the tension, Great. Now that's something your partner can do. Can they bring you a glass of water? Can they go on the walk with you? Can they listen to you rant? Can they maybe help you find a solution? Yes, there's things they can do, but you are the one who is living with that box, that chaos box. You are the only one who knows what is in the chaos box. You know what it looks like. You know what it feels like. So you are the one who will know how to mitigate it. It's just is what it is. And you will get better over time with that as well. And it's going to get easier to get like right in that feeling of knowing this is exactly what I have to do. You'll get there. It's going to take time, but you'll get there if you're not already there. The other thing is, again, couples and singles. The absolute misconception about foreplay, okay? People think that, again, we're going in the bedroom and that's where it starts. No, absolutely not. It starts 12 hours before you even thought about having any type of intimate relation, either with yourself or with your partner. Because everything that leading up to that moment can be a deal breaker or it can be an enhancing thing, right? So if you argued, that needs to be cleared up first. If you haven't paid any attention to your partner over the course of the last 12 hours, and out of a sudden you come and say, here I am, let's go. Yeah, maybe not. Okay. So it's that get the water simmer before you're trying to just boil it real quick. Like there is no induction stove. Okay. We're cooking with an old-fashioned electric oven here. Okay. So do things that are going to make sure that the person, or yourself or whatever, whoever you are trying to seduce, that gets that person into the right mood fairly quicker than you having to start all over again. So foreplay, again, air quotes, is something that doesn't happen 5 minutes before the act. No. It happens about 12 hours before the act or even longer. Try that there's always, it's just good. It's just balance. It's just, at least it's okay. And then from there we go and we make it better and better and better. But we can't make something 100% awesome when 5 minutes ago it was an ice block. That doesn't work that way. So is it texting somebody, paying attention, little things here and there, prepping the space, maybe even that is a huge thing. Prepping the space, especially if you now know, hey, this is how they like it, or this is how I like it. You make your space beautiful, and your partner is the one who makes the space beautiful and maintains that space beautifully. They know your favorite smell, or they know your favorite food that they want to cook or whatever. And also always checking in, always that communication. Everybody loves when somebody else who we love is showing interest. It's always a wonderful thing. So if you ask, hey, what is your favorite smell today? Or what is something that you really are missing today that I could help fulfill? Is there something that I can do for you? Or compliment, you look great today. I really love how whatever. Again, when we talked, do you remember the love language episode? Oh yeah, when we talked about that, words of affirmation for HSPs have to be more in depth, So instead of what I just said, hey, you look great today, right? If you're talking to the HSP, you might want to be like, I love how you wear your hair today. It really just brings out the softness of how your face is shaped. Something like that, right? It's just, and be honest about it too. Don't make stuff up. Don't make stuff up because it's hard. You can do it. I believe in you. Everybody can do it. Notice things and ask yourself, if that's hard for you to do, ask yourself why. You say, oh, my girlfriend's beautiful. Why? Why? I love her eyes. Why? They're so they're so big and bright. Okay, now we got somewhere. So ask yourself some of those why questions so you get deeper into something, and that will help you make, especially when you do the written word. If you're texting someone or writing an email or a letter, you have time. You have to take your time to think about it. If it's in the moment and you're saying it, it's probably harder to do, but even then, you get better over time. But it deeply touches the other person because they feel seen. They feel seen. We all want to feel seen as a whole, not just as, the body on earth that we're, chugging along, or, we don't just want to be seen for our amazing intelligence, or that we're a kind person, or that we look great, or whatever. No, we want to be seen as a whole. All of those things are important. And talking about those things individually, not just always one thing, but all those things, really enhances that connection and those words of affirmation that are then going to really lay the foundation for the mood, right? So it's the mood. And obviously, if you haven't listened to the love language one, that might be helpful. The love language episode that I did, because that can also help with the mood. If it's someone who, words of affirmation is totally not their jam, you probably have to go somewhere else. Do you have to bring them something nice because they like gift giving? Or do you have to do something because it's acts of service or whatever it is? Especially if it's someone who that's not their love language, so that's not your love language, but you're learning it for the other person. They will know. They will appreciate that, guarantee you, right? And then you can get into a lot better mood together to then enjoy pleasure. Also, if that's the case, it is more or probably easier for the HSP to stay out of their head and in their body, because the prepping, right, that 12-hour before period, the prep period, was so well done that there's so much goodness. It doesn't give my chaos box the chance to grow exponentially big. That's a thing. If it's almost like we're a vessel and we can fill ourselves with negative things. But if we fill someone with a lot of positive things, we leave less space for negative things. And the sad thing is that the negative things will always take up more space. They will always be more pronounced in our brains. This is just how we're wired, because, we're supposed to look for danger and all of these things in nature. So it's a lizard brain thing to do, to be more inclined to notice the negative stuff more than the positive stuff. So if you fill up someone with a lot of positive feelings, they will have less space for that chaos to build up in their mind. And that's a beautiful thing. But again, lots of self-responsibility here. It's all about you, right? You as an individual, you need to know how you, and I'm talking about you as the HSP. You need to know how you tick. You need to know what things you like. And if you have to make a list, then make a list, or make a list of things you don't like. Sometimes that's easier. And really communicate with your partner. Very honest to yourself, and take that on as something to kind of to tackle, right? So you're equipped a little bit better. And that can take time. Lots of grace for yourself and lots of patience. But it will get better over time if you keep working on it. Bottom line here is communication. Communication with yourself, with your partner. If your partner is the HSP, then all of those things could be something that can help them. So maybe you want to, give them the episode and say, hey, you should listen to this, or let's walk through this and do this together. Check in with all of your 5 senses, check in with your energy, and really always communicate about where are you on that scale, on that threshold scale. And you can give it a number, you can talk in percentages, whatever, but you need to let your partner know, how big is that box today? How big is the chaos box today? What do we have to do to get it down? Or is it okay and we don't have to touch it because it's great today? It fluctuates. Life happens. Your chaos box can be super small now, and 10 minutes later, it can be ginormous because something triggered you, something happened, something overwhelmed you. It is just what it is. It happens, and it's okay. So communicate about this and be very honest. Those are the two main things: honesty and communication. Leave out shame. There's no space for shame. We don't do shame. We don't do shame with ourselves, and we don't do shame in a relationship. Okay? We don't shame. Even if you have kings or fantasies or whatnot, everything is okay, because all of these things have a metaphoric reason for something. And that's okay. That's okay. So I hope this was helpful, and I hope that this wasn't too weird to talk about, but it is things that need to be talked about. And most of the things we talked about today weren't really super weird to talk about. Those were really normal things. But yes, all those mundane things feed into how we give and receive pleasure, and how can we be in the moment when that happens and really be in our body and explore everything that is happening, those feelings that we then have inside of us and around us, and not get into our heads and not be here anymore in that present moment. That's pretty much the goal, right? To be present. So yeah, HSPs, like the word says, highly sensitive person, and we got to work with those sensitivities. That's just the magic sauce. So I hope this was helpful for you. This was fun. And if you have any questions, don't ever shy away from leaving comments, and or find me directly on Instagram and DM me if you want to have it privately shared, and I will do my best to answer everything. So all right. Have a fantastic day. And I hope you're also excited for season 2. Season 2 is coming up very soon. More in the fall, starting probably in September, where we're going to talk about lots of energy work and spirituality and religion and all of these things. So it's going to be a great one. Lots of good content. So excited to see you there again. Bye. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I hope you enjoyed. You can give it a thumbs up, you can give it a review, you can share it with somebody you think might resonate with this. Have a great day. See you next time.